Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here from QBKing77.com, and today's a very exciting video for me. This is the first video I've actually made after hitting 150,000 subscribers, so thank you so much guys for all of you that watch my videos, follow me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. There's going to be a update video, maybe a giveaway soon, coming soon, so stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't. But now, I'm going to do a full review on the Blue Studio G. Now the Studio G is actually the least expensive Android phone I've ever used. It is $99 unlocked off contract. You can get it from Best Buy. Comes with specs like a 5-inch display, 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, and 4 gigabytes of internal storage. Now with that very low price tag comes some pros and cons, so let's go ahead and take a very close look at the Blue Studio G and review it. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the design of the device. So like I said, a 5-inch display. It's a little bit thick, a little bit more thick than I'm used to anyway. It's nothing too crazy though, it's not extremely thick or anything like that. You'll see 3 buttons, that's it for physical buttons. You have volume up, volume down, and the power button below both of those buttons. Down at the bottom you have absolutely nothing, which leaves you to believe, well, what's on top? You have the charging port, micro USB, and then you have the 3.5mm headphone jack, which I will say gets very loud. So if you listen to a lot of music out of speakers plugged into an auxiliary cable or headphones, etc., it does get very loud. Continuing on, like nothing on the left side. Like I said, the only buttons were the power and volume buttons. Now the back of the device is actually removable, so you can completely take it off, which means the battery is removable. My guess is you might have to buy extra batteries from Blue itself. It's a 2,000 milliamp hour battery, so not very big. Some awesome features, one of them being dual SIM card support. Very important for some people, so you'll see SIM 2, SIM 1. I don't have dual SIM, so I don't need it, but some people do. And also very important to have a micro SD card slot because it only includes 4 gigabytes of internal storage. Flipping it over, you do have a speaker on the back, which is just okay, honestly. Pretty standard sound quality. I would say a below average sound quality and below average volume as well. Then you have a 5 megapixel camera right there, nice blue logo. And then on the front you have a front facing camera, and that's really about it because you do have on-screen buttons. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the screen. You have a 5-inch display, and it's 480 by 854 resolution, so not 720p, anything like that. Honestly, for $99, the screen is okay. It's just, I mean, it does the job. I haven't had too many issues with it. It doesn't have defects or anything like that. It's just okay. Like I said, it doesn't have a crazy high screen resolution or anything, but it definitely does the job. But some things I have noticed is certain times you can kind of see the pixels on the screen, which is okay. Screen sensitivity, it's not very sensitive, so sometimes when you press a button you need to press it multiple times for it to actually register, which, I mean, it's just the screen sensitivity not being very high. Kind of annoying at times, but I guess you can kind of get used to it. And also, of course, it being a 480p display, when you watch YouTube videos, your only option is to watch in 480p as well. And once again, like I said, the screen's pretty standard. It does a job for basic things. Alright, so let's move on to software now. So it does run Android 4.4 KitKat, and it will be upgraded to Android 5.0 Lollipop later this year. Here's the lock screen. You have a shortcut to Google Now. You have an unlock option, and then a shortcut to a camera. You also have a shortcut to a camera over here where you can swipe over and it will open up the camera application. It's kind of interesting that they included 2 shortcuts to the camera, so you'll see open it on up right there. It didn't take too long to open it up. But overall, continuing with the software, the Google Now launcher was included. With the software, like I said, it did have 512 megabytes of RAM, which can actually cause some issues with multitasking and with the launcher redraw. To kind of give you an example of what I mean by a launcher redraw, I'm going to go into an app, for example, selecting a wallpaper, or this happens when you're in apps, etc. If you want to go ahead and scroll through, find a wallpaper, and I hit set wallpaper, and it goes back to the home screen, you'll see the home launcher reload. It's doing that because it's setting a new wallpaper, but it will do that redraw when you're in apps or certain things, just because it has limited RAM. And of course there's multitasking, and with the limited RAM, multitasking is a little more difficult to have multiple apps open just because they start closing because of the limited RAM. I mean, if you don't do crazy heavy multitasking, it's fine, but if you're listening to music in the background and you're opening up a lot of applications, I've had issues where the music application would actually close just because it has that limited RAM. Now also in regards to the software, like I said, it had a 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor with 512 megabytes of RAM. I've noticed that running high-end games, they just crash. They honestly just will try and load and then they will crash. High-end graphics games, so I don't know if the hardware just doesn't keep up. So here's Goat Simulator, which is kind of a high-end graphic mobile game. And you'll notice it's attempting to load, but then I haven't gotten it past this screen actually. It will just crash. I don't know if a software update can fix that or what, or if it's just hardware limitations that that won't allow it to work. So you'll see right there, it'll just go back to your home screen. Your home screen will have to do a redraw because it's using too much RAM. But more EA Golf closed as well. Like I said, the more higher graphic intensive games. But you have games like Crossy Road that work fine. PBA Challenge works as well. That one is kind of graphic intensive. It works. Zigzag was working. So the more less graphic intensive games worked fine, but the more higher graphic intensive games just wouldn't open in general. So overall, basic functions work. Snapchat works, Pandora, Reddit, I mean, all the basic things, Facebook, Twitter, all of those are just going to work. Like I said, when you get to more higher graphic intensive games is when you kind of run into issues. Also with the software, it's essentially stock Android with very few minor tweaks. So you see it pull down, you have quick panel widgets right here. You got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. They're a little bit modified. You'll see you have a cast screen option, which is nice. You can tap on audio profiles, outdoor meetings, silent general. You have screen timeout. Just some various quick toggles that that you do have, which I haven't figured out a way to edit yet, so they're pretty much stuck there. You can go into settings. Some other added things, like I said, audio profiles. It's a dual SIM phone, as I mentioned earlier, so you have a SIM management if you wanted to kind of change which SIM answers calls, which one gets data, etc. Another added feature is the scheduled power on and off. But like I said, overall pretty much stock Android, nothing intrusive. Like I said, it has the Google Now launcher, which is obviously changeable. If you don't want the Google Now launcher, you can go into the Play Store and change it out. You can change out the keyboard. Like I said, it uses the Google keyboard. Many things that you can change because it runs Android. Now let's move on to the camera. Like I said, a 5 megapixel camera on the back, and let me just say it takes pictures. That's kind of essentially what it's needed for. Not anything crazy. Focusing is difficult. Sometimes it takes a little while to focus, and you need to make sure you hold the camera steady when taking the picture, otherwise it's going to lose focus. Now you do have some camera features such as face beauty mode, you have panorama mode over here, you have another one that's multi-angle view mode, and you can just kind of take pictures from multiple angles. You have HDR mode as well, which helps with the pictures, but like I said, you really have to hold your phone steady to get a solid picture. Now if I want to scroll through some of the pictures that I took, here's a couple. Just kind of want to make a note that in good lighting, pictures turn out okay. I mean, if you use it for basic things like Snapchat, you can get okay images out of it, but don't expect anything crazy good. So you'll see some decent detail in some of these pictures, but like I said, the lighting was good. Overall, it's just been okay. I do want to make a note that it does have an LED flash, which is pretty solid as well, just because of comparison, maybe the Moto E doesn't have one, which is kind of upsetting because I use this for a flashlight pretty often. So a nice added touch with the flash on a $99 phone, I guess I should add. But overall, the colors are okay in these pictures. Just kind of, like I said, nothing crazy when it comes to the camera. But anyways, let's talk about battery life. So right now, there's actually a good indication of how battery life's been. I've been using it on Wi-Fi all day, though, so let me go ahead and talk about it. So you'll see it's at 19% right now. It's been almost 8 hours on battery, and then screen on time has been about 3 hours and 38 minutes. So, that being said, that's a little bit high compared to what I've been getting, just because I've been on Wi-Fi all day. So if you aren't always on Wi-Fi, you're going to get less. I average around maybe like 3 hours a day. Pretty heavy use. I mean, I get a lot of emails. I do a lot on my phone, whether it's look at news articles, take Snapchats, all that stuff. So I mean, overall, like I said, screen on time is about 3 hours. It doesn't get me through the day completely. So usually I'm going to need to throw it on the charger in the middle of the day just to kind of boost it a little bit. When I'm driving, I'm always going to throw it on the charger just to make sure I don't run out of battery. And finally, a nice added touch is you can add battery percentage up to your top of your status bar. And speaking of not being on Wi-Fi, it only has HHPA+, so no LTE. Like I said, it's $99. So no LTE, but I'm going to run a quick speed test on HSPA+. That's going to depend on your carrier. I'm on T-Mobile right now, your location, all of that stuff. So just kind of keep in mind this is my specific location and I'm on T-Mobile. Alright, so that finished. You'll see almost 7 megabits per second down and 2.26 megabits per second upload. So solid speeds on HSPA+. Now I just want to wrap things up, give some final thoughts on the Studio G from Blue. Now when you buy a budget device and you look at a device that's $99 off contract, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. You're not going to get a high-end camera, crazy amounts of RAM, all of those things. So you're going to need to make sacrifices. Of course, that's the whole point of it being a budget device. So the main question to ask is it worth it? So is it worth $99 unlocked? And I would say so. Yes, if you're someone that really needs to cut costs, and look for a budget device, I would say go for it. The limited RAM's kind of a bummer just because multitasking is kind of difficult. The camera's not really that great, but overall what you get for $99 is pretty solid. They said they will update it to Lollipop. Maybe that will fix some of the issues with the higher end gaming. So if you're someone that wants to do some higher end gaming, you might want to look elsewhere at a little more higher priced device. But anyways, that's it. That's my full review on the Studio G from Blue. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, if you could click that thumbs up button, I'd really appreciate it. Like I said, subscribe to me. Lots more to come, so especially because you guys give me such great support. So follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Links in the description of the video below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.